Well, I know Carl's not coming. I haven't heard from Stephen. I have heard from Lance that he is not going to make it. And that pretty well covers us almost, doesn't it? Yeah. So we could go ahead. We'll begin the meeting now.
Good.
Welcome our four of us from the Energy Committee here on the meeting tonight. You know, we never really talked about it, but Liston did say he wasn't going to be anymore. I don't know if I mentioned that to you or not, but we had a conversation actually a couple of months ago, and he wasn't able to make it anymore. And then
he also moved away, didn't he?
Well, they were planning to move, but I don't. Maybe they did move away. He
was asking me about rain barrels for his new house down in, where was it, Shoreham or someplace?
Oh, that's great. They found a new place. Excellent.
Apparently so.
The other is I got an email from Lance today, and he said that his employment has been so busy because seniors have been leaving and other people are taking on the extra work. And so he really doesn't feel like he has the energy to be a part of the committee, but he really, he really appreciates the work we're doing and the enthusiasm we have, especially with the Global Warming Solutions Act, he said, coming up. And he just figures that we are more, lean more toward being able to support that kind of stuff through the Energy Committee than he had the energy for. And he's got other things to do now anyway. Mm-hmm. And so I'll write back to him and let him know. I really enjoyed his energy as a different voice and just his energy at the meetings. And also, I really appreciated his energy at events when we were on the green and stuff like that. So I'll write and let him know. Does anyone else have anything else you'd like me to let him know?
So is he formally dropping off of the committee? Yeah. Well, I think tell him that we accept that with regret.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's too bad.
Yeah.
So do we have a quorum tonight?
We do, actually. I mean, we had 8 people, but we were listed, but we ended up getting 8 because 2 people wanted to be on, and both Lance and Carl got on. Mm-hmm. So I would imagine we have a quorum.
Well, we have 4 of 8 then.
Yeah, except that Liston has been gone for a while.
No. Okay.
But we've been told we can vote twice.
But we have to do one of them by mail.
Oh.
And we won't know the answer for weeks and weeks.
I think we need to, check in with the select board and let them know what our configuration is now, and let them know they can put out information for people to join the the committee, and also decide whether they want 7 or 8. It seemed like 7 was easier to do the quorum thing, but I can check in with it.
So I'm trying to keep some notes.
Okay.
So right now, John, Sally, Mike, me, Stephen, and Carl are our active members, right?
That's right.
So that's 6. So if we want to be at 7, we do need 1 more. Okay.
Is that really 6? Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, unless I'm
okay.
John, Sally, Mike, Richard, Stephen, Carl.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, so we're only 1 off the 7, if that's the case.
Yeah.
I guess. All right. Thanks for doing notes, Richard.
Sure.
John said he'd like to add something to the agenda. John, would you like to say what that is now?
Yeah, I have pulled some numbers together regarding the appropriations for the low-income heat energy assistance program, and perhaps I could share that a bit later. I have a little bit of still searching to do, but I think I can make a presentation towards the end.
Sounds great. Thank you, John.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we have 3 things on the agenda before that. And does anyone else have anything they want to add before we step into it?
Well, we didn't, I didn't see, oh, excuse me, I'm going to let my dog in. Do that. Since the governor has vetoed the Climate Solutions Act, is there some interest in wanting to get the energy committees across the state receive a note from us to step it up and urge your representative and senator to override the veto? Do we want to try that?
I know I'm waiting to get some guidance from VPIRG and VNRC and League of Conservation Voters. Did understand that we have a very narrow veto-proof majority.
Yes.
The Republicans who were, there were a few who were supporting and who did not support in the House, who did not support on the second vote. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was a very small number of Republicans who voted yes in February in the House. I don't remember if it was 3 or 5, but at least 3 have dropped off. 1 was absent on the vote this time. And so, as you know from the numbers in the House, we're at 102, with 100 being the majority. So it would seem to me it's going to be really critical to hold now everybody who voted yes. And of course, I think here in Addison County, the people that we elect are real solid. So I don't see anything personally that would prevent us from suggesting that the energy committees across the state check in with their legislators to let them know that we're really concerned about this. I think a lot of it's going to have to do with the leadership, with all the other demands to make sure that this vote to override takes place.
Yeah. Do we have any idea of the timing of that vote?
Not yet.
House or Senate? Okay.
Not yet. As soon as I hear, I'll shout it out. Believe me.
Why don't I draft a maybe a 50 words or less email note and then send it to you both, and then if you approve it, we could send it out at the appropriate time.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
That's good.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, and we're throwing wildfires and hurricanes. Okay, good. I'll start that then.
Thanks, John.
All right.
So I'll begin by asking if anyone did happen to see the electric mowing Q&A with Jay. Did you? Did
No,
you see it? No?
I
Okay.
did not.
Mike, did you see that at all? Can't hear you. I think you're muted. Oh, here
No, I muted myself, sorry.
okay, that's all right.
No, I did not hear him. I just familiar based on what you sent.
Okay, that's all I had. The thing I sent was a little question and answer thing, and that's all that we've shared between each other. It sounds like there are some things we could do around electric mowing as far as helping people create less emissions. I mean, tons of emissions are happening with gas-powered lawnmowers. And so at some point, it would be great to, maybe today, but in the future too, just brainstorm more ways that people could get together and maybe as a group buy an electric mower, neighbors, and share that electric mower, because using it once a week or so, I mean, why do we have so many machines around? And you could get a really good machine and people would save so much money eventually once it's paid off because of the gas and oil and all the maintenance and stuff of gas machines. And it'd be much quieter for their neighborhood and a lot less emissions.
So this would be like
take a look at that.
Yeah. This would be like a
Yeah.
ride share
Yeah.
sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Take a look at that document I sent. You don't have to do it right now, but at some point it really, Jay really gave some good information, and also on his website, there's some good information on the emissions and, the downsides of gas and the costs and stuff like that. It's really worth checking out. And he's,
Yeah.
Go ahead. Did I actually send it to you?
What I got wasn't readable. I'll have to talk to you about that afterwards.
Okay.
I do have this from Stephen Weisbaum.
Oh yeah.
Who's been pushing electric mowers a lot.
Yes.
That answers a lot of questions too.
That's great. I'll look that up too, the Mean Green.
Yeah.
I think he is mainly commercial.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's good to know about. It might be what Jay uses actually for his lawn. He has a landscaping business,
Yeah.
and Bear Mountain mowing.
Do you think it's so hard to plan anything because of the COVID situation?
Yeah.
I just bought I guess it was a Ryobi string trimmer after having a Black & Decker for about 25 years.
Yeah.
And the thing is so advanced, and I mean, it's downright scary, and it lasts forever. I put it over in a corner because I'm worried about it taking over or something. They're just the advances of these things have been absolutely amazing. And
so that's an electric?
It's an electric trimmer, and you can pull the head off and put on a street sweeper or a small snow blower or a garden little rototiller.
Oh my word.
It has the power to do that, which is mind-boggling to me. And it would be great if people could somehow get to try these things out. If we could, I wish, during Green Up Day, we could have all these things out there and more maybe, and let people see them.
Well, I think that, I think we just need to find different ways to do it, because how people went around and did music on their porches, or they did garden tours. I mean, we just have to get creative, like, saying, hey, this weekend we're having, an electric show, electric yard billing, and these people, this person will do it at 10, this will be at 11, this will be at 12. And people will get to go around and look at what people have going. And they can also look at the gardens at that yard too, or whatever. You know, it could be, you could add some things to it. You could have a musician there. You could have whatever. We just need to get creative, I think. Maybe if any of those things happen next year, like the music happens, we also maybe in the backyard get to show some things, or 2 doors down, there's something else to look at.
Maybe we could have somebody write some music that incorporates string trimmers and lawnmowers.
That's what we need, yes.
I have a colleague whose brother wrote a symphony that included something like 32 motorcycles.
Wow.
He presented it to the Queen in England.
Wow. I think things like that were fun in the beginning of COVID anyway, where people had a reason to get out in their neighborhood, walk around and see someone else's yard and, you know, do it at a distance, but just get to have that neighborly feel. And this might be one of those things that could happen. And we could find other things to mix in with that kind of thing. So more like a, you know, a green up day around the neighborhood kind of thing.
Let's keep it on the agenda.
All right.
Yep.
Also, Jay might be interested in coming to a meeting sometime. He wasn't able to come today, but if we want more information from him, you know, and him to be on the recording, he'd be willing to do that at some point, maybe.
I think that'd be kind of good to, for the people who watch this televised version of the Energy Committee, to have him front and center so people could get an idea that it exists and who he is.
Sounds great.
So maybe invite him to the next meeting.
All right, we'll see. He, you know, he's super busy in the fall because he does a variety of cleanup. So we'll see how his availability is, but maybe.
Whenever he can, yeah.
Okay. Great. Let's see if there's anything else on that. He really seemed to think that education is the best way to go with this, is really finding ways to, you know, let people know what's available and how much you can save as far as emissions and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah. All right, so the next on the agenda is the button up, and there have been these weatherization Wednesdays. Each Wednesday at noon, button up comes on with like a half an hour to 45 minutes of information, the latest that they want to share with energy committees. And today it was VEEP, Vermont Energy and Educational Programs. And so Kara was on telling about the programs that she offers for middle schoolers and high schoolers, and her team. She has a good sized team. And they've even moved into New Hampshire as well. So they're really getting some great scientific programs for kids for learning about energy and weatherization, you know, how energy flows, conduction, you know, insulation, all kinds of things. And they've covered most of Vermont with, I think they've been in 231 schools or something, you know, so far. So, and you know, I mean, we were planning to do one of those programs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it? It was last spring, and it got canceled because of COVID, beginning of COVID, right?
Yep.
Anyway, she said she still wants to do those when it's possible, and so I threw it an email saying that we'd be interested at some point to do a STEM fair. I don't know when that will be possible, but
yeah,
they're doing a lot of online work now, and so that parents can get a hold of the programs and do them with their kids if they're homeschooling and that kind of thing. So they're still looking forward to a good season. It was good to hear about it. It was inspiring, you know, just teaching kids about even possible career paths with energy and efficiency and all that. Another thing we learned was, you know, with Button Up right now, there are so few contractors available in some communities that, you know, it's hard to sign up. Sign-ups, we've already talked about this to some degree, but it's just a little bit of an awkward year with timing. You know, incentives were really good, and then once the money runs out, they won't be there. And then even later, people will get a free audit if they want, but that's January and beyond. And so there'll be different incentives, which will be great to have incentives, but it's hard to get real excited about talking about the audits when it's not even until January. You know, but the one thing that is good to do is get people to try to find a contractor if they're planning to do anything, and just talk to that contractor about getting on his or her schedule, you know. Let's see, what else is going on? There's certainly DIY things, and people can get $100 back for that. So that's an area to really promote right now, is do it yourself. Get on the Button Up website and take a look at the jobs that you can do, and you can get $100 off on any of the expenses you have, buying, whether stripping or this or that.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Let's see what else. Well, there's also a fundraiser through Button Up, and that is for helping with those situations where maybe there's vermiculite with asbestos, or there's some lead, or some other things that are really troublesome in someone's home because of maybe insulation or something. And in order to have that remediated, that's a whole different thing than the weatherization. So there's a fundraising effort in the state through Button Up to ask residents and businesses, whoever wants to pitch into this fund, because a lot of projects that are on that list of people who are low income, who they finally, you know, get in line and they get to have their house weather this problem, and then it stops. So this fund helps move forward on some of those projects. So that's something that people can, if they are feeling like they'd like to help out their lower income neighbors, they can pitch into this fundraising campaign, and that's on Button Up's website.
So
and we could, yes.
Did we research that and come up with a couple of clear instructions for people who wish to donate and put it on Front Porch Forum?
That sounds good.
Yep.
I'd be willing to do that.
Okay. I might even have some of that in the information that I've gotten, or it is on the recordings there, I believe, on Facebook, that Button Up Facebook, their weatherization Wednesdays. You could find it on not this Wednesday, but last Wednesday they talked about that fundraiser.
Okay, I don't have Facebook, but I'll see if I can find it some other way.
Okay.
Yeah, if I don't, I'll get in touch with you.
Okay, that sounds great, Richard. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, the next is, I just wanted to mention that there's, well, I'll let you finish writing.
Okay.
So coming up on October 6th, there's a Bristol Town Plan hearing. So, you know, that's a big deal, that our town plan is been really worked on by the Planning Commission. It's a 5-year, I think, process of redoing it. And so I think it's important that we check the parts of it that have to do with energy, for one. And I've looked at a little of that already. I've looked at it. So reviewing the energy section of the proposed town plan is important so that we feel comfortable with it and see if there's anything that we feel needs to be adjusted on the energy section. And that energy section is, it's not that long, but then there's an appendix with the whole enhanced energy plan that still is not quite, hasn't gone through the approval process yet with the select board, but I think it will be happening at the same time. I think it's going to be, you know, looked at and approved by the select board at the same time, and then it goes on to regional planning for approval and then the state. So I've been looking at that, and it looks quite well done, you know. But I think it's worth all of us taking a peek at it and seeing how we feel, because you know, we want to. There's going to be a hearing, and this would be our chance. I know the Planning Commission worked a little bit on it, on the town plan last night or Tuesday night at their meeting, and I haven't seen what changes might have happened. But that's just something that we should be aware of when to make sure we feel good about the plan before it goes forward.
Is that on the town website now?
I believe it is somewhere on the town website. I went looking today and I couldn't quite find it, but I didn't really have that much time. So
yeah, it's always buried somewhere.
And I think I downloaded a whole copy. Yeah, and I just, I'm not sure if it's been changed at all since I downloaded it. So, or maybe once, I don't know if once you download it, the changes show up on your download, or you got to get a new download. I'm not sure how that works.
Is mention of the town dumps potential for solar included in this?
I did not see anything about that in there. And I think it's worth doing that because there's also some talk about a possible methane digester thing. So I think it is worth talking about the solar as well. So just one of the other projects that is kind of on the horizon. And I think that's important. And the other is, I noticed in the town plan part, the energy section, there wasn't much talk about how much solar or that there's any solar being used in town. And actually there's a fair bit. Mm-hmm. So I think it's worth talking to maybe GMP and seeing if we can get information from them. I don't really know who has the information. Certainly, I would think they'd know how much net metering is happening in Bristol. That seems like it would be worth saying, because it's, you know, it's like categorizing what energy is happening in Bristol. Wood, oil, gas, and solar is also there.
Mm-hmm. Sally, I'm trying to remember when we were working on the enhanced energy plan 300 years ago.
Yeah. Before
COVID, there was the dashboard that was woefully out of date, but Andrew had a lot of the statistics on, I think, solar and other things in Bristol. I think they exist.
All right, I'll ask Andrew.
Andrew would be a good source.
Yep. And then if not, maybe he'll send me to GMP, to Bob Dostis or someone like that.
Yeah. Yeah. The question is, in the energy plan, I can't remember if it gets specific enough. My recollection was things are encouraged, but not specifically, a specific project isn't mentioned. Is that still the case?
Well, I noticed that Kevin's been working on the energy plan, and I think that he's been putting some stuff in about the possible digester and stuff like that. So I think there must be, it must be okay to be putting what other things in that aren't really happening yet.
Yeah, okay, well then we need to make sure the solar 3 project and so on are in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because the idea is moving toward renewables, and it's good to say what we've got going already.
I just Googled Bristol, Vermont energy plan, and it popped up. I think that's the most recent revision. Was a draft updated March 5th, 2019. Would that be what we're speaking about?
Well,
they've been working on it.
It's referenced as enhanced Town of Bristol enhanced energy plan.
Yeah.
They have been working on that, and they have been revising it these past few months.
Mm-hmm.
So
would they have posted it?
Done, and it's further than 2019. I pulled it off somewhere, but honestly, I can't remember if I got the right date for it. I think it was really recent. I actually popped into a meeting of the Planning Commission. I guess I saw a recording of a Planning Commission meeting and was able to listen to what they were talking about. And that was like, 2 weeks before, which is a couple of weeks, a month ago. So they have been adding things, changing things. There's updates that are happening right now.
And those would be online?
I would hope so. I did get a copy at some point in the past month, I believe. But I don't know if it's, I think it took me a while to find it. It might have been on.
I see a version here, July 31st, 2020.
That sounds good. Yeah, that's getting there.
Yeah, it's getting closer.
It's called an enhanced in July 2020.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the enhanced plan is one, which is an appendix, and the other is the energy section of the town plan, or the whole draft town plan. Everything is being changed in the town plan. And they, I think, are working on those two different things on different days. Enhanced energy plan is one big thing, and then the whole town plan is another big project. And then they're just going to put that enhanced, tag that enhanced plan onto the town plan.
I think I'm looking at it right now, and
Okay.
there are definitely some things in here that weren't in before.
Right. You're looking at the town plan
Enhanced energy
section?
plan.
The enhanced energy plan. Okay, that's different. Yeah.
Vermont Gas is required to develop an aggressive efficiency program, utilize the infrastructure it offers to promote economic development for manufacturing, and provide for renewable natural gas options.
Yeah.
So
that's on the enhanced plan or the energy section of the town plan?
It's on the enhanced energy plan.
Okay.
So what we're seeing is
yeah,
work has been done essentially to encourage what I see as the bringing a natural gas pipeline into Bristol.
Yeah.
And I think that's too aggressive. I think that needs to be discussed and voted on.
Yeah.
Yes.
It may be that the residents want to do that. But based on our last experience, it cost a whole lot of people a lot of money. That wasn't necessary. So, I've got questions about that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think
okay.
it would be worth us looking at it in detail and finding out what we feel would be, some good things at the we need to show up at the hearing with some things.
Should we maybe plan a short Zoom get together prior to that, just to compare notes?
I think we could do that if we were doing it with less than I forgot what the number is, but, or I guess we could call a special meeting, something like that.
I don't know how, Mike and John, how do you feel about it?
It'd be good that everyone's on the same page. So yes, a pre-delivery meeting and a special meeting. I don't believe needs a quorum, Sally.
I don't mean a quorum. I mean just open meeting laws. We've got to be careful about.
Sorry. Excuse me. Open meeting law. I'm sorry.
I think I used the word quorum, but I didn't really mean that. So I think it would be really wise for whoever is interested to really look at this stuff, and at some point we should probably just discuss how we can I think we might have to call some kind of a meeting that we need to.
We may need to draft a statement and vote on it.
Yeah, exactly.
We go back, we had discussions earlier about what is the role of the Energy Committee in this regard. And I guess I'm in conflict, not conflict, but there are two things going through my head. I have very definite personal feelings about this issue, and will probably, as an individual, want to comment.
Yeah.
Is it, I tend to be more aggressive on this kind of, on a committee like this. I kind of feel that it's our job to advise the town about the wisdom or lack of wisdom of taking certain directions. But not everybody agrees with that. So, I think we need some discussion, and we can always act on our own.
Yeah. Here's one thing I noticed when I was looking deeply into the enhanced energy plan. The enhanced energy plan is really clear about we need to reduce emissions. We have specific goals we need to make. And so whatever we do, it has to meet those. And so I feel like the general structure of that enhanced energy plan, at least when I last looked at it, was solid. And, even though there may be an interest in going toward something, it needs to meet certain requirements. It needs to prove that it is going to lower emissions and not add more emissions and things like that. So I think we all need to look at it closely and just make sure it feels like there are no leaks and no sieve,
I recall.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I recall we had a discussion about whether the Energy Committee has a responsibility to bring to the Select Board important information regarding, climate change.
Yeah.
And I think there was even a thought that there might be a presentation by the Energy Committee to the select board at some point. Now, I was just going to look for the definition of enhanced and see how broad that definition is, because maybe we should try to put, or not put, but get the proposal for the solar installation at the town dump on an equal footing with the enhanced thought about a pipeline into Bristol.
Yeah, I think
But
that's,
they're both sort of fit the definition of enhanced, I would hope.
I think that both of those are efforts to meet goals in the enhanced plan, and they should both be mentioned. Yeah, I agree, John. I also feel that, you know, the enhanced plan is a document that it has a lot of, I mean, you've got to meet a lot of things in order to get your enhanced energy plan approved. And they have to meet the standards of the, you know, the state's goals.
It's true. So some have been rejected. I can't name the town or even the county, but in recent past, I saw that an energy plan did not meet that all that.
Right, that can happen. So we have to make sure it passes, and I'm sure the Planning Commission is really trying to make sure it passes, but we should take a look at it and do that before and get clear, each of us individually clear, and, you know, if it makes sense to be sharing anything, then we should do that in a way that works. But I think it would help if we, you know, worked on that some. It just felt comfortable. I actually, honestly, once I went through it all a few weeks back, I felt pretty comfortable that, you know, yes, there were things that I wouldn't have put in there, but I also feel, yeah, other things need to be put in there by different people. And all in all, I felt it was still pretty solid document that would, you know, be a good guidance for what we need to do here. I do think that a little more needs to be talked about in the town plans energy section about what efficiency and, you know, the things that we have always, as an energy committee, been focused on: efficiency, conservation, and renewable energy. Those things need to be really, you know, that's what the energy committee is about. Reducing emissions, reducing energy use, using more renewable energy. So that needs to be
charging stations.
And what?
Yeah. And charging stations, yes.
Yeah. Well, I think we need to read it and maybe be ready to make some comments.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that's going through my head right now is carbon reduction strategies are going to be important. I mean, they're going to be mandated now if the Global Warming Solution Act passes. There are some very hard targets to meet.
Yeah.
And at least we need to raise the issue that Bristol has its own targets. They're in the Enhanced Energy Plan. We have been given targets.
Yeah.
And how are we going to meet those? Without maybe getting into arguments over whether or not natural gas or cow power is an effective way to do it. Simply point out the fact that anything that is proposed is going to have to meet that standard of carbon reduction.
And it is all laid out in the enhanced plan. So yeah. I think that's great. I think it could be fine the way it is, but I just wanted to make sure we took a look at it as an energy committee before the thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for talking about that. I think I was looking forward to talking to you all about it because I was kind of at first freaking out alone, and then I got over it. I'm like, it's going to be okay. And I thought, well, no, we need to all look at it and make sure we feel good about it. All right. Oh, one other thing I wanted to say about the town plan hearing, and maybe this is something that happens before that, but I went to a webinar on the state's latest standards for energy building in homes, and how it's called the building energy standards. So residential housing building energy standards. So when someone builds a house or even remodels, I believe, you have to meet certain standards of depth of insulation and different things that make it up to energy snuff. And it's been one of those things that hasn't really been necessarily followed, but there are new standards, I guess, a year ago. And I think we should find out how Bristol's new and remodeled buildings are conforming to those, and how's the town making sure that's the case, or how do they file the builder's information, and how do we make sure we're not creating more of these houses that are leaking, which then we have to put a lot of energy into trying to figure out how to get money to fill them, you know? So I think we should take a peek at that, because that's another thing that's going to be going into the town energy plan, something around building energy standards, zoning, you know, I'm not sure where it fits in, but we should find out. And I feel like I'm happy to go ahead and look into that, since I went to that webinar and I have it more in my mind recently. And maybe talk to Valerie or the town clerk or Sharon or something, and see what they're doing about that, or the zoning. See what's going on about that.
Yeah.
Because I want to make sure that's clarified in the new town plan, that we are caring about how tight our houses are being built, because we know what it's like to be with a bunch of housing stock that's leaking like a sieve.
My recollection is that there is work going on in the legislature regarding certification requirements for installers,
Yeah.
for example, and also they've been talking about some kind of a process in which, when a home goes on the market,
Yeah.
there are disclosures.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that stands. Do you know anything about that?
I'm not sure if that has gone through yet, or I think the one main thing is that whoever builds something is the one who certifies it themselves. They certify what they did, and they fill out a form, and then maybe when there's some sort of change of hands or something, it goes into the file cabinet at the town hall or something, you know. I don't really know.
Okay, so that's something to.
Yeah, and certainly Richard Fazy would know about that.
Yeah,
he was at that meeting.
Yep.
So maybe I'll check with him to make sure.
So you're going to research this.
Yeah. And you know, it's just something for everyone. Well, who would be someone who says, hey, when this goes on, we would like to have it certified? You know, does Bristol, I suppose the whole state basically wants that to be happening, but who's actually watching and checking and making sure it's happening is the thing.
I believe the realtors, my understanding is that there's going to, if you put your house up for sale, during that process, it is proposed And it would probably be part of the real estate, a form, just
Yeah.
like the HUD forms and the 10,000 forms you sign,
Yeah.
what you disclose, your energy use, your utilities, and other information to the prospective buyer.
Right.
So they're not, as my relatives from Pennsylvania would say, you're not getting a pig in a poke.
Yeah. Great. All right. Yeah, I'll ask Richard Fazy, what is the ideal way this could work? What is the way it is working? What can we do in Bristol to make sure that it's in the town plan about how we do that, if that's possible. All right. That's all I have. I think, John, do you want to talk about what you were going to discuss with us? The lie heap?
Lie heap, yes. Well, what I'm going to provide to you is I might call it a prospectus, since the congressional omnibus appropriation hasn't been approved yet, and the state's budget hasn't been approved either. So, but this is what I've gleaned from numerous phone calls and just lots of searching. A background on it, though, Vermont receives a LIHEAP block grant of about $20 million and transfers about 15% of that to weatherization. So I guess one can do that math, but the state also receives federal assistance, and we don't have that number. But I'll tell you that the U.S. House of Representatives increased LIHEAP appropriations by some $25 million. So the total LIHEAP in FY 2021 would be $3.765 billion. And the state would receive through a formula its share, and I'm going to say it might be more than $20 million, since the increase over last year would be reflected by state getting more money. Governor Scott's budget back in March requested $1.480 million for LIHEAP, but also Vermont received a share of the $900 million in the CARES program for LIHEAP. And Vermont's share in that is about $5 million, $5,073,000 actually. So if we start totaling it up, we look at the increase for the state through federal and state appropriations for LIHEAP, we might be in excess of, say, $22 million, plus Vermont's share of $5 million would be $27 million. It's a little bit confusing, and I won't go into it in any detail, but some of that money for LIHEAP also includes the cost to the homeowner to have their oil tank replaced. Every 3 years, the oil tank has to be inspected, as we know, by the fuel dealer. So that could then cost the homeowner something in excess of $2,500 to replace the tank.
Yeah,
some of the LIHEAP money could actually be set aside for that purpose. So I haven't told you much, except there are a lot of numbers and we don't know what the conclusion will be. But it'll be a little better than last year's LIHEAP availability in the state of Vermont.
Well, that's good news.
John, what does LIHEAP stand for?
Oh, Low Income Heat Energy Assistance Program.
Okay.
And in Vermont, in the Agency for Human Services, it's called Home Heating Energy Assistance Program, HHEAP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yes, we might be in better shape FY 2021 than FY 20. I've tried my best to get something better than the Farmer's Almanac of what are prospects for this winter's weather.
Mhm.
And all I can say is the Northern Hemisphere is experiencing a La Nina, which means the heat from the Western Pacific hasn't come across the Pacific. It's mostly cold water coming up from the south along the California coast. What does that mean to weather in Vermont? The best I can gather is that a wetter winter and not warmer, but seasonal average. So all I can say is
Yeah.
we're probably looking at a more snow, and yes, in April it'll be 20 degrees through the entire month.
Well, the skiers might have a good year after all.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, put water skis on.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm going to try to type this up in a better form
Great.
and send it to you. But again, it's all perspective because no final decisions have been made at the federal or the state level.
So, John, does this money at the state level, is this going to be allocated in some way to like the Office of Economic Opportunity, weatherization program, or how around the state, that kind of thing? Or are they grants to individuals? How does it work?
An individual has to apply, and it's not a complicated, but it's a pretty thorough application process to qualify and to have received approval from the state. Then the homeowner can appeal to the state for assistance when it has to purchase fuel oil. And the state would then see what that household's budget for LIHEAP includes. And if there's money in their account, then money goes from the state treasurer to the fuel oil distributor.
And for
For
weatherization?
some or all of the purchase of that fuel.
For weatherization, is there
Separate.
separate?
Yes, separate. Will be a separate appropriation, and I'm still trying to chase that rabbit down.
Okay.
But some of the weatherization money does come from the LIHEAP block grant provided by the federal government, and about 15% of that block grant. But again, we don't know what in FY 2021 the state would be receiving from federal government, because we don't know what the total program, and once the total is available, then there's a formula for each state. So then we determine what's Vermont's share from the federal LIHEAP block grant.
And John, the LIHEAP, Low Income Heat Energy Assistance Program.
Yes.
So the heat energy, it does have to be a fuel. It can't be something to do with heat pumps or.
No, it's fuel. It's for
fuel,
the purpose of propane or heating oil. Yeah.
Yeah. But not. How about wood?
No.
Okay. It's mainly oil or gas.
Oil or gas, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
the emergency heating sources. That's what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, heat can be considered supplemental, but the oil or propane are the two beneficiaries of state and federal LIHEAP funding.
So if there's a low-income person who heats with wood, they can't really apply to LIHEAP. They would do something else.
Well, I can't imagine that. Although I'm sure there are some who provide their entire heat through wood,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
pellets or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be pellet stoves.
Yeah, pellet stove. But
Pellet stoves.
again, I think anybody who puts in a pellet stove probably has a backup oil tank.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, for purposes of breakdown of the pellet stove, etc.
I think
But anyway, I can't go too far on that.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar enough, but
That's
it
cool.
is oil and gas for LIHEAP.
it's interesting that they are recognizing the burden that replacing an oil tank is going to have on low-income people.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if the tank does not meet the fuel delivery person's inspection, then they really can't put fuel in that tank,
Yeah.
Right.
and then the family has to just panic. And
Totally.
yeah,
Yeah.
but again, LIHEAP and the state of Vermont is there to ease the burden.
That's great.
Excellent.
Yeah. So if you've got your oil tank, just paint it red. Cover the rest. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I have nothing more to add regarding weatherization, but I will type up what I've said to you and email it to you, Sally.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Um,
Now I've got a family obligation here, and I'm
Yeah.
going to have to say, if you need my vote, Richard, could I give you my proxy?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna move that they double our salaries.
Talk to me. Yes. Mhm. Good. Let's triple it. It doesn't matter when it's zero. Okay. Well,
I think we're running
Sally,
down anyway, but
I'm
Go ahead.
sorry, I cut you off.
I would say we're getting close to the end of the meeting anyway, but you can take off and we'll say goodbye and then we'll probably close up.
Good to hear from you, John.
Thank you, Sally, and Richard also. All right, good day. But I will also, as I said earlier, I will send a draft of this, about 50 words, note to all the energy committees that we might consider, if you approve language, sending out based upon a timeline for the vote in the House and the Senate. Yeah. Okay.
Great.
We'll see. Oh, may I also mention, just a second, let me bring that up. Senator Bray did send us an email, Sally. I don't know if you saw that.
I did not see it today, but
Yeah, I can read it. It's interesting. Just a moment here. I mean, I'll take your time. I'm just gonna do a little computer thing here. Okay. Hello all. I had thought I would get to join you tonight, but I am still on calls to move forward the Act 250 bill,
Oh
which
boy.
is currently on the Senate floor.
Wow.
One day we will adjourn this endless session, and I look forward to joining a future BEC meeting. Best, Chris.
Great.
thank you
Yes.
for letting us know. That's great.
Well, he might consider himself a candidate for membership. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Well, good night to you all.
Good night, John.
Right.
Goodbye.
Anything else, Mike? You got anything on your mind?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Nothing related to the Energy Committee anyway. How about dinner?
Okay. Good idea. How about you, Richard?
I've had dinner, so I could go all night.
I'm set, I think, for tonight. And
So check, I just happened to look, VNRC has on their website a plan. Here's what you can do now about Governor Scott's climate veto.
okay.
I won't try to read this small print, but the
Yeah.
word is out there.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Yep.
Thank you.
I think it involves pitchforks and torches.
Yeah, probably. All right. Thanks. This has been great. Send me your notes whenever you get a chance, and I think I have about 3 sets of minutes that haven't been put up on the thing, and I have enough information that I can, but if you have any minutes that haven't come my way, feel free to send them.
Okay, I didn't do anything for our last
Okay.
meeting because there weren't enough of us to
Yeah.
do anything, so we just chatted.
Yeah, it's fine.
But
Totally
I'll
fine.
get these up.
Sally, if
Yes.
anybody runs across the most recent notes from the Enhanced Energy Committee, I know, Richard, did you have those? The most recent version?
The most recent version did come up, yeah. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, I'll send it to everybody if I find it
Great.
again. Yeah, okay.
Okay. That's great. Thanks a lot, Richard.
Yep.
Thanks for asking, Mike.
Okay.
Good to see you all. And,
Good to see you.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Stay warm.
All right.
Yeah.
And I'll see you. Maybe we'll see each other at the hearing on the October 6th
Sounds good.
for the town plan. Keep an
Okay.
eye on that, and ready yourselves to say anything if you feel like it.
Okay.
All righty.
Great. All right. Thanks a lot.
See ya.
Bye-bye.